what I have learned from selling weed legally. I did a video years ago called like what I learned from selling the weed. I'll put it up here and below too, so you can check that out. But being in a recreational market here in Los Angeles for several years, I figured, shit, maybe this might help some of you out there. So first and foremost, you've probably heard me say this before if you watch my TrueBuds TV or TrueBuds Show podcast, that you gotta love it, man. You gotta be passionate about it, because there's highs and lows in this industry, and if you love it, that's gonna keep you there. If you're on the fence and you don't really love it, some of these lows will probably kick your ass out of the industry, man. So that's, I think, really crucial. So if you love it, you're sitting here like, dude, I fuck with it. I wanna learn more. Come on, let's talk. These are just my thoughts and opinions. Your reputation is everything in cannabis. It's a tight-knit community. I'm gonna be referring more so to just LA where I am, but as a whole, dude, it's still a not tight-knit community, and word travels fast. And you're talking to people like, oh, I know so-and-so, they work there, or they work for this brand, or this buyer's here. People flip around so much, things are moving so much that your company may change, your dispensary may change, but you don't change. It's your reputation that keeps you, able to thrive out here. And I pride myself on that, just in life apart from cannabis, but always deliver, man. If you make a commitment, be there for your commitment. Always, the line under promise, over deliver. That's a good sales line in general, but I don't over promise, because you never want to do that. You want to, what I just said. However, I just think you just really got to be consistent. And the consistency also comes with the follow-ups and calls. We're gonna get more into like the little nitty and gritty here in a moment. Find a category you love. This isn't necessary. If you love cannabis, you'll probably love it all. But I find personally, having some skin in the game for these categories I love, or brands I really resonate with, helps it mean that much more when I'm selling it, because I truly believe this shit. And with that, I personally have like a buy-in with companies I work for. Let me explain that. I literally have the product every day. People will ask me do you take this shit? I'm like, every day. And they look at me like, okay, shit. But that's kind of helps me in my sales style. And I have friends that are sales reps who don't necessarily love their product or consume it. That's just my style. I'm like, dude, if I'm gonna be truthful and selling this shit, I gotta take it, I gotta enjoy it. And if I don't enjoy it, then why am I even working for that company, dude? Is my heart in this shit? So with that first one too, is your heart in it? Do you have a category you love that you're passionate about? That's not necessary. I just think it's something nice to consider. Stay consistent and follow up is what I alluded to earlier. I feel like some people have the wrong notion of cannabis sales. Dude, you just smoke weed all day. It's like, nah, dude, that's not how it works. If you're a good cannabis sales guy, the guy's really killing it, getting after it, treat it like any other sales job. Sure, there's other perks. Sure, maybe they smoke during the day, but you still have to have your pipeline. You need to follow up. What I did really well, I think, or still do really well, I'm not on the retail side anymore, I'm doing direct to consumer, but was a consistency, dude, especially with these new beverage products I was selling that are hard to get in shops because buyers don't see much value. It takes up some room. They have to flip so much to make as much as they'd make selling fucking 5/8 or whatever. So there was a lot of pushback in the beverage space. And what it took for me was follow up, follow up, follow up. You hit them up until they say no. If you've done your job is what my first boss told me when they say no. So stay on it. And what really, really worked for me is the in-person. Sure, you got to spend a lot of time on the road. Some days it's not worth it. Dude, I just went to 10 places, didn't get a fucking sale. But at least you're getting your face in front of people. You're talking to people. And then you can actually see, is this dispensary viable for what I'm trying to sell? Because maybe online it looks like it, then you get inside and nah, this is trash. It's not even worth my time. And on that point is it's I've gotten way better throughout my time of just saying they're not worth your time. Really honing in on your target. Really knowing your target before you even build out that pipeline is pretty crucial. So yeah, the follow-up emails in person and getting creative. This actually, I'm pretty sure, helped me secure some of my biggest accounts of getting creative. The lounges in West Hollywood, the Woods, the Artistry. I was having trouble getting in there, man. It took a long time. They're not the easiest shops to get into. It's pretty competitive in the beverage world. And what I did was I recorded some content in both. Then I sent them to the buyer. And then I made some other videos hey, I was just in your store, really loved it. I love an opportunity to meet. I have my video on YouTube, getting views, whatever. So it's finding these workarounds. Maybe you don't make videos. Maybe you do some artwork. Do a dope little piece of artwork, send it to them. Maybe you do photography. Maybe you do something else that you can offer. Just creative ways I'm all about to separate you from these other reps out here, because that's kind of what, can make you a multifaceted threat in a way, which is kind of how I like to think of myself sometimes. No, but for real, like I can go do the retail sales, I can do the direct to consumer side, I can crank out the content meanwhile. So this is just like a machine that I've personally been building, and I'm trying to give you some insight into what I do. And my goal in the future is to be fully mobile, just making content, converting, having fun. And still though, I like the boots on the ground element still. So like, I still want to have that interaction. And I think too, that's a big part of what's missing in general is like, just that face to face, man. Now, with this as a whole, there's so much to the industry, people getting paid out and whatnot, but you can't let any of that affect you. Like the big thing with it is like, focus on what you can control. What can you control in your day-to-day activities? And let's say you were doing the sales role, what can you control? You can control your leads, you can control your calls, you can control who you reach out to. And that's just really just keep building it. And that's like when I think I'm not getting traction, like, dude, it's just a numbers game. But that being said, there's only so many dispensaries out there in LA, right? I think at the time, when I was really getting after it, there was like 290, 300 of them, and I went to every one, dude. And most of them a bunch of times. So really just staying consistent, popping in there, and I know I'm kind of beating that horse there, but that's just really what it's all about. Let's see if I had anything else on here. Being creative. Yeah, guys, that's just kind of like my 2 cents. What else have I learned though, too, is that like, the payment thing was interesting to me, the terms thing, the people doing it right. Shout out the homie at the weed shop. COD, Stash, and Studio City, all doing the cash on delivery. But really just finding a way to provide that value. And that's something that I'm working on right now, like full transparency with Autumn Brands. And our cannabis salve is freaking amazing, man. And I'm trying to get it out there more with content into the world, because a lot of people don't know this product exists or other products. So once again, that goes back to the creative element. So that's me. There's other guys too who have more of just the strict sales background, who maybe came from corporate and like weed and are killing it. There's other ways too, man. And I guess with this too, I can talk about working for a startup for a little bit. And I had David Belsky on my podcast, the CEO of Flower Hire, super knowledgeable guy. And we were talking about just that. He's like, dude, when I'm looking for cannabis people to hire, I like people that worked in startups because it's fast paced, you never know what's kind of going on. And that's kind of cannabis as a whole, but especially cannabis startups, man. Let me tell you, it's fun. I liked it a lot. Purewana was fun, man. Koan was fun, man. But Koan did me kind of dirty at the end with the startup thing, man. Payment thing. So I'm gonna stop there. I don't want to bash those guys, but at least yet I might, man. But yeah, guys, that's my thoughts on like some advice or just thoughts on selling weed legally, dude.